Today's movie is called Wild Card. It's an action thriller film starring Jason Statham in the lead role. The movie revolves around the world of casino gambling in Las Vegas and its dark underbelly, featuring some spectacular action sequences and Jason Statham's signature master plans. So without further delay, let's dive into the story of today's movie. The movie begins, and we are shown a restaurant in Las Vegas. Here, Nick is sitting and having a drink. Nick was a formidable fighter with a city record in fighting, and he had even served in the military. However, his days aren't going well at the moment because he's heavily into gambling. Due to his gambling habit, he has never left Las Vegas. Currently, with little money in hand, his frustration keeps growing. For this reason, he takes on small jobs, but his jobs are somewhat different, like acting as a bodyguard, intimidating someone, or beating someone up for money. That's how he's been getting by. At that moment, a girl comes to the restaurant and sits in front of Nick, ordering a drink. Nick keeps glancing at her repeatedly, which makes the girl uncomfortable, and she moves to another table. But Nick still tries to talk to her. Just then, her boyfriend, Asgood, arrives in an expensive car. Asgood appears to be very wealthy, and he proposes marriage to his girlfriend. Hearing this, the girl, whose name is Dee, starts arguing with him, saying, "You already have 3 other wives, so I have no trust in you." At that moment, Nick steps in and starts misbehaving with Asgood's girlfriend right in front of him. This leads to a confrontation between Nick and Asgood. Dee tries to stop them from fighting and convinces Asgood to leave with her. Nick also steps outside, and their argument continues. During this, Asgood beats Nick and leaves him on the ground. Seeing this, Dee is thrilled and says, "I'm ready to marry you." Meanwhile, we see a car on the road. The man inside the car throws a girl out onto the street and drives away. The girl is badly injured. Some people take her to the hospital, and there we learn her name is Holly. Everyone at the hospital asks Holly who did this to her. Holly is in critical condition and can barely speak, but she says, "I don't know them." Next, we see Nick again. He drives to a cafe called Silver Spoon. Nick always hangs out here and treats this place like his office, where he makes all his business deals. When Nick arrives at the cafe, a guy named Cyrus approaches him and asks Nick to be his bodyguard. Cyrus, a gambler, explains, "When I was visiting a jungle scene, some people started following me, and I'm really scared. Will you come with me?" Nick agrees to take the job. In the next scene, Nick goes to a bar where the man who beat him up, Oscar, arrives in a car. Oscar thanks Nick, and here we learn that it was all part of a plan between Nick and Asgood. Asgood says, "Because of you, my girlfriend was impressed by me and agreed to marry me." For this, Asgood tries to pay Nick his fee. Their deal was for $500, but since his girlfriend agreed to the marriage, Asgood offers Nick more than $500. However, Nick returns the extra money, saying he will only take the exact amount agreed upon, neither less nor more. Hearing this, Asgood is even more pleased and leaves the place. Afterward, Nick goes inside the restaurant and meets a friend who tells him, "You're going to meet a girl named Mahal." Nick replies, "I already know Mahal." Then Nick goes to see Holly. Seeing Holly in such a condition, Nick is deeply upset. He asks, "What happened to you? Who did this?" Holly then explains, "I was coming up in a hotel elevator, and there were 3 men, 2 tall ones and 1 short. It seemed like the short one was their boss. He asked me if I'd party with them. When I refused, they got angry, grabbed me, and took me to a room where they locked me up. In that room, there was no one else. I kept begging them to let me go, but they started assaulting me. When I resisted, they beat me up and did terrible things to me. Later, their bodyguards came and did the same. I had no strength left, and I was in immense pain. In the end, they threw me out on the street. I want you to find those men." Nick suggests, "You should go to the police." Holly replies, "If I go to the police, it'll take too long. I just want you to find out their names, and then I'll go to the police." Hearing this, Nick agrees to take on the task. He asks, "Which hotel were you at?" Holly tells him she was at a hotel called Golden Nugget. Upon hearing the name, Nick sets out to start his investigation. Within a short time, Nick arrives at the Golden Nugget Hotel and speaks to a woman there, whom Nick had already known that woman, and he tells her the entire incident in detail. The woman asks Nick to meet her at a cafe in the afternoon and says, "I'm trying to find out more about this from the hotel. Whatever I learn, I'll let you know at the cafe. A little while later, they meet at a cafe, and the woman tells him, that man's name is Danny DeMarco. He's a very dangerous person. He has 2 bodyguards who are also extremely dangerous. Try to keep the girls away from them. Anyone who messes with them finds it very difficult to stay in Las Vegas, so it would be best for you to forget all these incidents. After hearing this, Nick calls Holly and says, I found out who they are. My job is done now. Holly responds, no, I want you to catch those 3 and punish them. Hearing this, Nick gets very angry and says, go to the police. I don't want to get involved in this mess. Holly then says, do you know what happened to me? That man told me, if you want to save your life, tell me how much you love me. If you do, I won't shoot the gun. But if you don't love me, I'll shoot right now. Hearing this, I got scared and said, I love you. Danny said, no, you don't love me. And then he pulled the trigger. But there were no bullets in the gun. Still, it gave me such a shock that my entire body trembled. That pain was worse than death. That's why I want you to catch them all and teach them a lesson. Nick refuses to listen to her and hangs up the phone, leaving the place. On the other hand, a casino is shown where Nick goes to meet Cyrus, who is gambling there. Nick sits and drinks, but his mind is preoccupied with Holly's words. Nick tells Cyrus, no one can do anything to you in the casino, so you don't need any guards. Saying this, Nick leaves the place and goes straight to Holly. He says to her, you still haven't gone to the police? Holly replies, they won't be able to do anything. And since you don't want to catch them either, I'll do whatever needs to be done. I'll fight those 3 alone. Nick says, do you want me to go there and get killed? Holly responds, I know they can't do anything to you. Nick then says, I'll call you and you come to the address I tell you to. Saying this, Nick leaves. In the next scene, Nick returns to the hotel and knocks on a door. A bodyguard opens the door immediately and asks, who are you? What do you want? Nick says, I'm a pimp. I traffic girls. Hearing this, the bodyguard lets him inside. There he meets Danny, who asks, where's the girl? He further asks, is the girl very beautiful? Nick replies, yes, she's beautiful, but you made her very bad last night. Hearing this, Danny realizes who he's talking about and gets very scared. He offers Nick $50,000 and says, make sure no one else finds out about this. But Nick doesn't agree. Danny gets furious, pulls out his gun, and points it at Nick. He says, if you want to live, praise me. If I like what you say, I'll let you go. Nick starts praising him, but he realizes that this won't end well. In a swift move, Nick knocks out both bodyguards. Then he knocks out Danny as well. After rendering all 3 unconscious, Nick ties them up with a rope. He calls Holly and tells her to come to that address. Within a short time, Holly arrives and starts torturing Danny. Holly had brought a pair of scissors in her bag. Danny says, take the money and forget all this. Holly hands the money to Nick and says to Danny, I don't need your money. I'll show you what fear feels like. The kind you made me feel last night. Danny screams in fear. Holly says, I'm playing the same game with you that you played with me. I'll touch the scissors there, and you'll say how much you love me. Holly then says, we'll leave Las Vegas because Danny might come after us. You might need money for that. They decide to split the money. Nick takes $25,000, and the remaining $25,000 is given to Holly. Nick goes to the casino with his share because before leaving Las Vegas, he wants to make some more money with the $25,000. He starts gambling, and within a short time, turns the $25,000 into $50,000. A little later, Cyrus arrives. Nick talks to Cyrus but continues his game. In no time, he turns the $50,000 into $2.5 million. If Nick wins one more time, he'll win $5 million. And Nick does win, meaning he's turned $25,000 into $5 million. Nick tells Cyrus, I'm leaving Las Vegas soon because I have $5 million. I can live comfortably for 5 years with this. Nick heads to the cash counter to collect his money, but then his mind shifts. He starts thinking, what will I do for money after 5 years? So he returns to the gambling table. As he starts gambling again, Nick tells Cyrus, I need so much money that I don't have to come back to Las Vegas a second time. Saying this, he bets all his money, but this time luck doesn't favor him. He keeps losing and ends up losing all the money he had, including the $25,000 he came with. Nick becomes despondent again, sits down, and starts drinking, finishing one bottle of liquor after another. While drinking, he falls down on his way out and passes out right there. When Nick opens his eyes, he sees Cyrus standing in front of him. Offering him juice, Cyrus then says, "Today, I want to tell you some truths. I came to Las Vegas only for you. I want to mold myself like you, but if I had told you this the first time we met, you wouldn't have accepted me. So I was acting in front of you so that you'd become my bodyguard, and I could learn from you. A few days ago, I saw a man on the street who was very scared. His shirt had the words, 'Please don't kill me,' written on it. I laughed at first, but then I realized I'm just like him. I'm a coward too. I'm always afraid that someone will kill me, and that's why I keep thinking about how to become brave. I lied to you earlier when I said my friend recommended you. I already knew you, and I didn't need to know about your qualifications because I already knew them. Now I want you to teach me how to become strong." Nick replies, "You're still a kid." Cyrus retorts, "Don't call me a kid. I earned $1.7 million by the age of 19, and now I have 5 times that amount." Nick asks, "How did you earn so much money?" Cyrus explains, "I programmed and updated an old software, which earned me all that money." But even after hearing all this, Nick refuses to help Cyrus. Cyrus doesn't try to stop him, but Nick doesn't listen and leaves, starting to drink again. Just then, Danny's men arrive to capture Nick. Nick attacks them and knocks them out. At that moment, 2 men appear. They are Baby's men, and Baby is the boss of Las Vegas, someone no one dares to cross. Nick goes with the 2 men and meets Baby, who loves Nick dearly. Baby tells him, "In Las Vegas, only your name is on everyone's lips. I'm going to take you to Danny. He's with me now. He says you shot 2 of his bodyguards." Baby then takes Nick to Danny and asks Danny to explain what happened. Danny claims, "Nick broke into my house to steal money. He took $50,000, shot 2 of my bodyguards, and escaped. His fingerprints are in my house, and I have the gun he used to shoot my bodyguards." Baby asks Nick, "I want to hear the truth from your mouth." Nick responds, "I have a question for you. You've known me for years. Have you ever seen me kill anyone with a gun?" Baby replies, "Never." Baby then says, "Nick can kill people with the smallest things, and I'll never believe he used a gun." Nick adds, "I didn't kill those bodyguards. Danny killed them himself." Baby asks, "Why would Danny kill his own bodyguards?" Nick explains, "He was crying like a child in front of them and didn't want that news to spread, so he killed them." Baby asks, "Why was Danny crying?" Nick replies, "A girl threatened to cut him with scissors." Danny denies everything, but Nick says, "If you don't believe me, check his pants. You'll see plenty of scissor marks." Danny screams, "I'll never take off my pants," and storms out. Baby realizes Nick is innocent and warns him, "Be careful. Danny could come after you anytime." Nick leaves and arrives at the Silver Spoon Cafe, where he meets Cyrus again. Cyrus says, "I've learned so much from you that it's changed my entire life. I'm not afraid of anyone anymore, and it's all because of you. I want to give you something." Cyrus hands Nick a piece of paper containing a check for $500,000. Despite this, Nick refuses to take it. Just then, Danny arrives with his men to attack Nick. Cyrus, seeing this, starts singing a song to distract everyone, causing a commotion in the cafe. In the chaos, Nick escapes, and Danny and his men leave. Nick thinks to himself, "If I can't kill Danny, he'll ruin my entire life." Nick then starts fighting Danny's men and eventually confronts Danny, who shoots Nick and escapes in a car. Suddenly, Cyrus appears again, holding a $500,000 check and a flight ticket. He says, "I'm giving this to you happily." This time, Nick agrees to take it, gets into a car, and leaves. And that's how the movie ends. Friends, this movie had a unique flavor. I love Jasar's movies so much that I want to explain each one to you. Let me know in the comments how you like this movie and whether you want to see more movies like this.